Now, what are the main organizations that facilitate this globalization? There are certain international institutions globalization cannot happen on its own. There are certain international institutions which have worked towards it. And some of them are IMF, which is the International Monetary Fund. It is the fund. It provides short-term credit and it looks after if there is a balance of payment. It was set up, International Monetary Fund was set up because there were many countries which were facing problems of balance of payment. Their balance of payment was unfavorable. For that purpose, IMF was basically set up. Then World Bank was set up after the Second World War, when the majority of economies were in a very bad shape. In order to give loans to them to revive their economies, World Bank was set up. So World Bank provides long-term loans. And World Trade Organization facilitates trade. Let us study about them in detail. IMF was organized in 1946 and it commenced its work in March 1947. The year we had attained independence, in the same year IMF also started functioning. In March 1947, its head office is in Washington, D.C., USA. It is an autonomous organization that has been affiliated to UNO. At the moment, it has 188 members. It started with 31 members, but now it has 188 members. It functions as a short-term credit institution. Short-term credit it provides to its member countries. Now, how does IMF work? IMF has member countries as their members. Now, all these countries are given a specific quota. According to their size of population, according to their size of national income, they are allotted a quota. And from that quota, they donate to the fund of IMF. That is what the fund of IMF is made up of. The donations by the member countries. And from those funds, it provides for those credit to the member countries and it finances the loans to its member countries. Now, the main purpose of IMF, as I had said, was that the balance of payment problem was faced by many countries. So, it looks after the balance of payment if there is a deficit. It looks after the exchange rate problems and all these problems. For that purpose only, IMF had started SDR. We had studied about special drawing rights. Then we had studied about physical deficit and budgetary deficit. We have studied that how in 1969, IMF had started with an artificial currency known as SDR, which it allocates to its member countries. How these member countries contribute to the fund of IMF. Some contribute according to the quota that is given and some contribute, like rich countries contribute as it is to the fund so that IMF can provide loan to the other needy countries. So it functions as a short-term credit and it grants loans for financing current transaction only. When we say current transaction, we mean transaction in goods and services and remittances, aids and all. So International Monetary Fund works as a short-term credit institution. The next is the World Bank, which is also known as IBRD, International Bank for Restructuring and Development, which was established after the Second World War. It was formed in 1945 after a meeting in Bretton Woods. Its head office is in Washington, D.C., USA, and it has been set up for giving long-term loans on reasonable term to developing countries. Now, World Bank also has 188 members, the same as IMF. The number of members of World Bank are also the same, 188 members it has. Now, World Bank Group, along with World Bank, there are 5 groups there in World Bank. One is World Bank, which is the IBRD. The second is IDA, IFC, MEGA and ICSID. Now, what is IDA? IDA is International Development Association, which was set up in the year 1960. It was set up to provide loan to the poorest nation of the world. Poorest nation of the world, the loans were given, and that too interest free. So it is also called as a soft lending arm of the World Bank because it provides help to the poorest countries of the world. Interest free loans it gives them on for their development. That is the work of International Development Association for their development. It is also known as soft lending arm. The second is the IBRD, that is the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. It provides loan on easy terms to middle income countries. Then is the International Finance Corporation, which provides investment and advisories to developing countries. Then there is MEGA, which was set up in 1988, which is Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency. This also provides investment. It provides guarantee to foreign investors. It asks them to invest in foreign countries, in developing countries, and provides them security against the risk that they are taking. So it provides guarantee to foreign investors to make investments in developing countries. Then there is International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes, as the word suggests, settlement of disputes. So it resolves the dispute between the foreign investors and the host countries. It resolves disputes between the two. So these are the 5 groups of World Bank. Then there is World Trade Organization. The word itself, trade organization. It facilitates multilateral trade between the two countries. It facilitates multilateral trade amongst countries. It was set up after there were shortcomings found in GATT. GATT was General Agreement on Trade on Tariffs. Earlier, the trading between the countries was viewed by international trading between countries was viewed by GATT, but there were certain shortcomings in GATT. The full form of GATT was General Agreements on Trades and Tariffs. There were many trade sectors which were not included in GATT, like TRIPS, trade-related intellectual property rights. GATT was not talking about these trading in these things. It was not talking about trading in services. So because of all those shortcomings, WTO came into existence on 1st January 1995. It has 160 member countries, and along with seeing that the facilitating of trade between the countries, it also handles the trade disputes between countries.